In the 1400s, like going back to the 1400s, or going forward to the 1400s, the Portuguese and the Spanish began capturing Africans, working with African kings to feed a slave trade, a European slave trade that brought about 100 million Africans across the Atlantic, most of whom died. And of the ones that reached the United States, historians say about 30% of them were Muslims. So again, I don't want you to leave this course thinking, again, that Islam began in America with the MSAs, the Muslim Student Associations, in the 1960s. I don't want you to think that Islam started in America in the 1980s after the immigration acts were passed in the 60s, and we really start to see a flood of brothers and sisters coming from the Arab countries, from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from West Africa and East Africa. Before that,
and to show you or solidify again in terms of our position as Muslims, Allah told us that He created us what? Nafsin wahida, one soul, not distinct souls, different souls, male and female, but also too, as He says, "O you mankind, surely we created you what? Male and female, and have made you into races, colors, languages, and tribes, so that you may what? Lita'arafu, get to mutually be acquainted and know one another." Again, this is the foundation that we stand upon. This is our Quran. And also, too, we're told, it says when Africans came to America, they were seen as inferiors to white people. They were viewed as enemies, which also made what? It's easier to come up with the mentality that we can enslave these people, right? So in order for whites to dehumanize blacks, they attributed animal traits to African Americans, such as apes, monkeys. And that's why that term is so offensive to us. They wanted to make Africans seem less than human and therefore inferior to whites. And some of what we started off with was the story in the Bible that they misinterpreted, and also too the Jacobite plan in terms of making the God figure white. So in fact, to say, look, God looks like me. So it is important that we recognize how blacks came to America, how they were viewed, and why they were viewed that way. It is important because it helps us to understand why blacks were wrongfully given negative stereotypes and how these stereotypes have evolved.
People who are brought to this land, including our Muslim forefathers and ancestors, as being nothing but victims. Hence, I want to start even before then. There's a book that is called Tarikh as-Sudan, Tarikh as-Sudan, or the History of Black Africa, written by As-Sa'di, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, great historian. And he actually wrote about, during the Malian Empire, that one of the relatives of the great emperor Mansa Musa, who was a Muslim, who Forbes magazine projected of being the most wealthy man and just ruler in the history of humankind, had a relative by the name of Abu Bakr Thani, or Abu Bakr II. And it's narrated that this man took hundreds of boats of people who crossed the ocean, which we know to be the Atlantic Ocean, and sailed to the west. So there is historical writings, and Dr. Ivan Van Sertima wrote about this too in a book that's less authoritative, but a book called They Came Before Columbus, written by Ivan Van Sertima, that Muslims from West Africa reached these shores before Columbus got lost coming over here in 1492, right? There were Muslims who came to the United States, of what we know now as the United States of America, or the Americas, before the colonialism project. So this is one thing that I want to lift up, that our Muslim ancestors, that we all have a spiritual heritage and connection to, be you black or not, right? Our spiritual chain goes back to these people being here in the United States of America, that these were people who were masters not just of the Islamic science,